Welcome to Content Crib episode 6. Eric Anderson, the World Traveler, and me, Chris Gross. We are here coming in on July. If anybody is not on the beach or boat, lake, listening to us, we're going to talk for a little bit. What do you think, Eric? You've been around a bit, been traveling yourself?
I've been doing a lot of traveling. I've been doing a lot of sitting in airports for multiple days. I won't name the airline, but I will name the location. It's called JFK. Do whatever you can in your power to never travel through there during the months of June, July, and August if you can.
The airline talk, we could probably put 10 minutes on that, but it just seems like it's going in an ebb and flow of which one is delivering the best product. I think Delta is the leader everybody can agree on, but I'm still getting some good experiences on JetBlue and the occasional United.
Well,
here we go.
Yeah. So I agree with Delta, and so I'll just tell everybody. I went on JetBlue, and it was horrific. It was very poorly. Anyway, to make a long story short, out on the runway, weather, come back in, refuel, promise to leave that night, cancel at 11 o'clock at night. That kind of stuff. Not very well run there, but I think that's a JFK thing, to be perfectly honest, because I've been on JetBlue at other places, other airports, and they seem to do fine. And when I go in and out of Logan with them, they're at Boston. They're great, but not this time. So,
yeah. Now that I think about it, I've had a little bit of trouble with JFK out of New York. I'll actually do the Worcester to JFK flight, which is awesome because you just go up and down instead of driving, 3-4 hours, which is nice.
So what airline goes into Worcester that goes into JFK?
JetBlue.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting.
Yep, and Orlando too. It's the best airport. They charge for parking, but they don't charge for parking, and then you're one of 10 people walking through the gate. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Not enough flights that I can get on travel out of there, but when I do, it's nice.
Well, that's good to know that they do go to Worcester out of Orlando. That's interesting. Now that all the listeners are all going, why are they talking about flight arrangements? But anyway, it's
summer talk. We have a lot to catch up on. I mean, you had a pretty important wedding too.
I did, yeah. My son got married, had a wonderful wedding. Of course, there was a crazy amount of stress and all kinds of stuff leading up to it to make sure everything was supposed to occur when it did, and it did. So it was great. Thank you for asking. He's a happy guy, beautiful daughter-in-law, and so they are happy as can be, and they are off to live their life. So they live locally, so which is nice. So I get to see him. I still get to call him and go, "Hey, I have a problem with a branch in the yard. Can you come by and help me cut that up and take it away?" So which is the call he's going to get right after this podcast. So just so you know.
Exactly. And the infamous red hats made an appearance I saw at the wedding, which was hilarious.
It did. I almost put it on when I was sitting as they were walking down the aisle and doing the whole phone like this. And I got the look from my wife, Lori, that was the look of "Don't you dare." So I did not do that. But yes, it did. The red hat made it. It didn't make a live appearance in video format, but who knows? Maybe at somebody else's wedding. So anyway, but yeah, the red hat did make its appearance. And man, you were putting out some content where you were on a boat smiling back at the camera. Looked like you were having a very nice July 4th yourself, or whatever date that was. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it was good. I try to avoid the lake at all costs. I have this 26-year-old boat that I've been slowly fixing with my wife and I, and now it's at a really good spot where it's comfortable. The upholstery's all done. We have a rebuilt engine in it. It's really nice, and we live on the lake. But the holidays, the July 4th holiday, I try very hard to avoid it because it's the boat ramp's a nightmare. A lot of rookies, a lot of drinking, but can't avoid it completely. So we did go on Sunday, and it was very nice. But we spent the 4th of July holiday actually down at my parents' pool with my 3 little nephews. My middle brother's a lunatic. He's got 3 little rugrats running around. They're awesome, but
nonstop energy.
Non-stop.
Well, and so in all the time that I was traveling or not traveling, sitting in a chair, wondering when a flight was going to leave, I all of a sudden came this epiphany. Well, it wasn't epiphany. It was, we had talked about it in the before, but you know, all the different things we're doing with Content Crib and all the different things we're going to do. I just had this thought that I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to throw it into fifth gear, sixth gear, eighth gear. If you drive a really expensive Italian car or whatever, what you may drive, whatever gear you have that's the highest number, I think it's time for us to do it. And it really transpired from I've seen so much AI driven content lately that's really bad. It's
Really
just
bad.
bad. It's bad. And again, I talk about this all the time, this dead internet theory that people have this, theory that now it's like 90% of the internet is just AI talking to AI and bots talking to bots and nothing, not much is really given, maybe some social media. And there's just, I think, a real, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's a real thirst for people who want to see real, genuine educational content they can learn from, and maybe even possibly see some of these people in person at some point in time and have like human contact again instead of over Zoom. So that was my epiphany that came in.
It's not the craziest epiphany. I could not agree more. It's wild right now. It's definitely a death of generic content that's happening because platforms are realizing all the generic repetitive fluff and shifting from more content to memorable content is definitely the play. While there's still the opportunity for people with personal brands to grow because companies are still not going to figure that out. We're trying, but people like people, so it's fine that it's that way. But I think that there is a simple formula in terms of what you're saying about the education of content. Content that educates converts, right? So if you're providing something or you're teaching something to someone, they're going to gravitate towards you, especially if you find out where your ideal audience spends their time. So if your ideal audience spends their time on LinkedIn talking about healthcare, and then you should probably jump in on that party and talk about that segment of healthcare, whether it's medical devices or in my case compounded pharmaceuticals, or in your case orthopedics and devices and whatnot, and then as well as our case overall content creation and enabling and helping the individual company be inspired to create personalized content. So top of the funnel, it's a sales tool. So FAQ videos, walking and talking about some struggles that you're experiencing, I think really connects.
Yeah, no, it's why creators like Gary Vaynerchuk and Alex Hormozy and you name them all, you watch because you're like, well, what am I going to learn today from this person? Now, people will argue, man, their views are way down. Gary Vaynerchuk's views are way, way down. And he would argue, and I would agree, that the algorithm is much, much better at honing in on, instead of you distributing your content to the masses and hoping that it catches on, the algorithm, well, we know this, the algorithm now can analyze and figure out exactly where that content needs to go to connect with the right person, which they want to keep on the platform longer, which is, so if you're getting content that you go, oh, that's great. It's funny because I won't name who it is, but I had a conversation with a guy who's really, really successful.
You always say that, but then you name them. But yeah, keep
I
running.
know. I can't this time. I can't this time because he would not be happy.
Okay.
But I said, so what do you think about this video thing with LinkedIn? And he goes, and this is why I totally disagreed with him. He goes, yeah, I think it's really stupid. And I go, why do you think it's stupid? He goes, how many people want to learn about videos about HR talks? Like who wants to learn about that? And my reply, and I said, I agree with you. I'm not going to tune into HR talks, but I guarantee the algorithm on LinkedIn is going to figure out that I don't want to see that. And so they're not going to push that to me. And so he's like, yeah, I can see that, but it's not the dopamine hit that they get with TikTok and Instagram. And I said, yes, but no. it's a dopamine I hit because I'm getting an educational lesson on a certain thing that I want to learn about. I don't really need to see a whole family going to Disney World and doing a dance about it. I don't want to see that on TikTok. I don't care. But if it's somebody who's talking to me about personal branding and some strategy that they use, I want to see that all day long. That's interesting to me. And so I think we agreed to disagree. How about that?
Yeah, there's some middle ground too, right? So I think building your personal brand, you want to tell your story maybe with the family. That's why I like to do personal things with my wife and I or my family, once or twice on the weekend, just to show that I have a soul beyond all the other soulless things that I may talk about on LinkedIn. But and I wanted to go back to what you said about the educate to convert and why I think or education posts. Do you find yourself, if you find a nice long form post, like hitting save and like saving that post because you want to like reread it and learn it and implement it?
That is a great question. It's because I just dealt with this today.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the videofication of my brain or if it's the TikTokification of everything, but I find myself with really long posts not reading them anymore.
Really?
I've noticed that I'm passing by them more. I just noticed this
Wow.
today. But a shorter one that is of interest and maybe with a video, I'm watching more. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, I should be doing that. I should be saving long form posts because now I could go back and read them and it's educational and it's something that I could learn from if it's something like that. So I should be doing it. I'm not doing it right now. How about that? How about you?
No, I do. There's some certain creators that are putting out really great educational content that I will not miss their posts, and
So
I'll save them because
who are
they're.
some of those people that you're following like that?
I mean, the king of social selling, Darren McKee. I mean, I won't miss a post of his. I've been following him for 5 years,
I just
uh,
started following him because you
consistently.
told me. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was great.
consistently since 2020, right before the pandemic, and all through the pandemic. And he was big inspiration on posting and creating a brand, and I've been implementing his tactics for years now. So he's got some great gold, and I think is a great example of not only social selling and where the market is going in terms of top of funnel marketing for companies and individuals in brand building, but uh, in terms of actually content creation and creating an audience. I mean that he's doing that by with his content that he's putting out with his highly educational, giving in a way that we always teach, right? Give away your best ideas for free. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I love those creators, and I'm the same way. I noticed that LinkedIn had a I don't know if you noticed this. If I sent it over to you, but they had a kind of a video summit in New York City where they invited a bunch of creators to come and
I
I don't know if
watched
you,
that. I
yeah,
watched a couple of clips of that. Yeah.
yeah. So they're in a partnership with Gary Vaynerchuk, and they're you know really I, they're going all in on video. They are going all in. Again, now what my friend said, my buddy said, he was like, how many people want to tune in to see that stuff? That's going to be a whole different story. But that's what they're doing, and there may be a clientele or of people who want to see that. But you brought up something earlier, and I was going to kind of talk about this on this podcast. Is you talked about the personal side, and you do wonderful posts about your bar pie on Friday, which is Friday. Are you doing a bar pie tonight?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you?
Actually, sadly, not. My wife's at a medical device conference, so
Oh man! All
this is.
right. Well,
Trust me, I'm in such a bad mood because I have to eat like reheat chicken that I made. Don't get me started. Yeah, come on. You're on a. Don't get me angry.
well, hey, we're both solo tonight, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
My family's
Why
not
we're
here as
doing a
well either.
podcast at 3:30 on a Friday.
Yeah. There you go. I always excited about your bar pie posts, but anyway, back to you. Always are great at posting, personal content, and to be very transparent, I don't do it. I have never done it
Right.
because I've never wanted to put my kids or my wife on social media because they were younger and years ago. I
Sure.
didn't want to have
Yeah.
their faces, and I have never done it once. I've never done it once. Well, I'm gonna start doing it because now they're older and it's fine, and they're not running from the law anymore. No, I'm kidding. They,
Yeah.
it's just I never have done it because I was always very, very careful and guarded about all that, and for no reason. I don't know why why I did it that way, but what are your thoughts about that? Because again, it was part of my epiphany this week, sitting a couple days in an airport. I was just like, I need to start sharing because people might be interested in what my world is like, on a daily basis, or they might be absolutely mortified. I don't know. Yeah, either or.
think it's it's super important. I think it's essential now in 2025. I think with the direction it's going, because you're building trust faster. I mean, how many times have you connected with someone on LinkedIn that now attends our content cribs and you can pick up a phone call because they know what you like to do for, you know, doing your daily work activities, talking about maybe the red hats and rep scrubs. And it's probably like talking to an old friend. It's the same thing I experience. I was talking to a couple weeks ago via text, Brent Lavin, and he knows my wife's name. And I go, take our boats out, and I know he's the king of barbecue and in med tech. And we've only talked on the phone maybe once, but we've texted and DMs and whatnot. But it's content that I put out there, content that he's put out there that is personalized. It keeps it fun. It keeps it interactive. Now, I think it can be overdone. I definitely think it can be
Yeah,
overdone. Uh,
yeah,
and I think it's important to keep your audience engaged on the goals that you're doing. And that's why I think it's so important to have a content calendar for yourself or company. But right now we're talking about personalized. And in that, and you brought up the New York City LinkedIn talk, they talked about all these things that we talk about, which is, getting over the fear, starting out with a calendar, putting your voice out there, how you got started. There was creators that talked about that, and that's really where it is putting a structure in place or a framework in place to just commit and get started and be consistent. And I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah. I mean, they hit all of the major things that we talk about on a regular basis. I thought it was
Exactly. Yeah.
pretty funny and interesting.
Yeah.
But
It is, yeah.
I agree with you now. More than ever, it needs to be personalized. And there's a guy that I really like a lot that started uh, a sporting brand called Origin. He's actually in Maine. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he just started his own YouTube channel. It's fantastic. It's him and his struggle slash day to day in his business of building an apparel brand in the state of Maine. And his name is Pete Roberts. He does a great job. I mean, I was like, I like learned like 10 things in his last 4 episodes that he did. And he's like got pictures of his, he's got video of his family in the background. They're doing things. And I'm like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. You really should
Yeah.
be able to, need to be able to connect with more people. People see me in my dumb red hat, but that's about it. So, trust me, my family's much better looking than me, so you'd rather see
Yeah.
them than me. So
I think a good mix, and is what I do, is a split of 60-30-10. So 60 educational, tactful, helpful to your ideal audience who you're speaking to, 30% personal narrative, and then 10% like hyper personal or point of view beliefs. I think you can create a nice little following and community if you stick to that.
yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, see, that's why you're the brains behind the operation. You have an
I don't know
actual.
about that. I don't know.
You have
I
the.
need guardrails and like color by numbers. Otherwise, I'm not
Yeah,
that bright. So if I follow like a little, then I'm like, oh, okay. Then I can get a little bit creative.
yeah,
So we all have our strengths.
yeah, exactly, 100%. No, that's great. That's a great lesson for anybody out there. I mean, just create a plan. And you know what? Sometimes your content that you share is going to be absolutely fantastic, and it's just going to resonate, and people are going to love it. A lot of the time you're going to have stuff that you go, boy, that was
Oh,
good.
I had flops. Yeah, I had a
why
couple
didn't
flops
that
last week.
resonate? Like
Yeah.
you're thinking, I sometimes get out and I'll do this whole long post and videos and everything, and I'll put it out there and I'm going, man, this one is just going to blow up. And it dud, nothing happened. So I don't even care anymore. I don't, it just, it's, just like walking, just put one foot in front of the other and keep on going.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I had some really bad flops last week, but I had a good one last night, which was controversial take on Bill Gates and that robots will take over in 10 years. I don't really believe it, but I just wanted to see what everybody thought and thought that was interesting. But I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with that main or the brand Origin brand, you said
Yeah.
he's
Yep.
building?
Yeah. It's called
Because
Origin.
I had a question, I'm gonna guess that he probably has a newsletter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, he's got all kinds of different. Yeah. 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 It's funny. So
'Cause I wanted to talk about that.
they've got a. So he's got. He has a kind of a video newsletter, just updating once a week on what which is a whole other thing we should talk about or think about. But yeah, much like we have a newsletter, Chris. Is that where you're going with this?
Oh, I wanted to say, well, I just think how in I am a true believer that you can build an entire business around something that you want to do or a business that you're currently in based on a niche micro newsletter topic.
Hundred
And I
percent.
think we're seeing that with our open rates of Content Crib and engagement. I just started a newsletter not even a month ago with 40% plus open rates. And I just think that they're kind of like the new home base for trust building. And it could be an awesome funnel to just not even building, but building a business and turning a profit, but talk about something you care about or you're passionate about to create an audience. That's yours. That's your audience.
This is such a great topic. I'm so glad you brought it up because
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of the newsletter. I, I've done enough of them now that I've had some that have been terrible that don't really
Sure.
pan out. But yeah, the Content Crib newsletter gets, right now it's getting like 50-60% open rates, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, how many people send an email like that and get open rates like that? But people here's the reality, everybody. The average viewer of Fox News, CNN, whatever, well, let's just say Fox News and whatever, is 72 years old. So those channels are dying. The migration of people trying to get their information from trusted sources, they're dying for it. They want to find it. And that's why newsletters are booming right now. Because
Yep.
if you want to do a newsletter on boating in Massachusetts in the summertime, I bet if Chris Gross saw that newsletter, he'd go, I'm going to subscribe to that. Am I right?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I wouldn't even think. I would just hit subscribe right away.
Right. Exactly. And, if I was writing that newsletter, I mean, it'd be a cool way to connect with people that never connected with. So I totally agree with you. If you're, and we use a product called Beehive at Content. It's Content
Yep.
Crib. It's Beehive, BEHIIV.com, beehive.com. I think it's II. Anyway, it's Beehive, not spelled like the
Yep,
real
it's
way.
the same one I use for our compounding newsletter.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's easy. It's very well. I mean, you can have a newsletter out to an email list in 20 minutes. And when I
Yep.
mean 20 minutes, I mean, you type out the newsletter, you put it into their templates, whatever, and it will distribute it like that. And you get data back, knowing what's happening with what resonates and what's not. And that's a pretty cool thing. And I think they have a free version on Beehive where like you can send your newsletter and it's like literally free. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah, I think that having a content ladder per se, social profile, newsletter, product is a good little kind of ladder of options to go up and down depending on what brand you're building. And then you could feather in, YouTube clips and maybe other social media profiles to get going. But we have some exciting news that you touched on earlier about where we're going to go with Content Crib Virtual Sales Direct Physician Content Studio. But do we want to touch on some Content Crib updates overall with the event coming up first?
Yeah. So we're at 50. I mean, that's where we are with some rollovers and some things like that. What we'd like to do is probably have, because what happens usually we have anywhere from 4 to 10 people that can't make it. They got to roll over to the next time. Something happens or they can't be. So we basically have probably 7 to 10 spots left. So each one of us has got 2 to 3 people that we can invite to come to Content Crib, and that's it. Then we're going to shut it down and it will be closed, which is pretty cool because we're 3 months away. We sold it out in with 3 months to go, which is pretty pretty wild.
Pretty wild. I mean, that you touched on earlier about in real life meetups and how cool it is to do that when you start networking, creating a brand, like-minded people, and that's what we do, and it's been a game changer personally for us, but as well as for a lot of the attendees there, and the connections and networking. Mike Nathan posted about this yesterday on LinkedIn, and truly your network is your net worth, and even more so now with these lean business models you can run as a solopreneur or entrepreneur or small business.
Yeah, and it so true. And I saw that post that I don't know if you saw what Blake Martin did, who's one of our guys who comes to our content
On the
crib.
treadmill?
No, it was when he was sitting at his table and he was talking about the grind.
Yep,
yeah, the grind.
Yep.
And Blake is a perfect example. He came to our content crib and he has a weight loss clinic. He left medical device. He started a weight loss clinic among other things.
He's coming in October too.
He's coming in October, and he's been before, I think, to either one or two. And man, I read it and I was like, man, I was so happy for him. And he was just laying it out. I mean, he was just saying, sometimes the stuff I've got to do, it kind of sucks that I do it on the weekend and I don't get to do this, that, and the other thing, but he wouldn't trade it for the world. And before I think maybe it's time we maybe have Blake on the podcast, but he would
awesome.
probably share with you that, he wasn't doing content. He wasn't doing that stuff. And when he put that out there, it was kind of like I got a little tear in my eye. I was like, man, he, went from probably trying to figure this all out to sharing his journey. And I think he's doing very well with it. So yeah, I was excited to see it when he did that.
Yeah, that post, that was a hard hitting post. I read that as well and engaged with it. And he actually did a funny one today. I think he was making fun of standing desks or something on a treadmill, but I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, so yeah I want to check that out. But yeah, there's 50 stories like that, and I'm not being funny, but there's 50 stories like that from Content Crib because there's 50 people there of just people who, whether it's Dr. Ryan Molly or it's Dr. McClellan or it's Dr. Towson. I don't know if you guys follow Dr. Adrienne Towson, but it's the cool stuff that she puts out. And I'm like, talking about her daughter getting engaged and flew to Boston. Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, when I saw the picture, I was like, I know where that is. I mean, saw the fountain in the back, and I was like, I know where that is. But yeah, it's but all that stuff. But okay, so 10 years ago, would we have known about any of this stuff? Like, I was just able to recall all of those things in my mind. I don't have any written notes about it or anything. It's just stuff that because I saw it on LinkedIn and they shared their journeys on LinkedIn. I remember that. And that hopefully, in a very indirect way, I wasn't trying to have a lesson on content, but I guess I did, and you too, kind of sharing with what Blake Martin, I mean, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. And that's the way and it goes back to what we were talking about, the personal stuff. That's the stuff we're talking about it right now because we remember it. And I think it works for people that are trying to put content out there and why it is important, or people putting content out there that are trying to connect with their ideal audience and keeping it hyper personal.
Yeah.
With Content Crib 5.0 coming up, what do you think is going to be the biggest takeaway for repeat people going?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, I was talking to Matthew about this the other day. I think the biggest takeaway is they're going to leave there with a roadmap that's personalized to what they want to do, whatever their goal is as far as business wise, achieving that goal. They're going to have their own business consultant in the way of an AI tool, accessory, bot, consultant, whatever you want to call that, that's going to help them do that. And it's going to be impressive. And to the point where we strategize this and we've talked about this, is that this detailed step-by-step workbook that everyone's going to leave with, you're actually going to get to touch it. You're actually going to leave with it. Not just follow some link and then you get it, but you can do that too. But we're going to also offer that. So people who don't come to Content Crib, that AI manual, that we'll call it workbook, we're going to offer that. We're going to make that an offering, just because we've had so many people talk to us like, what are you talking about? Wait a minute. You're going to be able to do this, this, and this with this AI. I'm like, yeah, and Matthew's in the lab. Actually, I call it the lab. He's in a room in his house with, lots of cool books around him. And I'm sure he's got his smoking jacket on with a pipe in his mouth, putting together what that's going to look like.
Yeah. The fancy garage. No, I mean, I'm pumped. I think, I still think AI is wildly underutilized, even I think we could admit that you and I can learn a lot more about it. We all can. It's changing so fast. And by the overall population, even in our network, and we can all learn from each other from it. But with things that we are doing with AI and going to be able to pass off from what we know, I think are going to be pretty mind blowing. So I'm not saying that we're experts, we're learning, but what we are packaged together and put together is going to be truly move the needle for everybody, especially ones that have been repeat and are there to get some more knowledge. And we have some new people coming too, and I think their minds are going to be blown.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think if you've never been to a Content Crib, you've picked a good one to choose as your maiden voyage, because you're going to be. It's not just we're going to have you sitting in chairs, grueling through listening to us. It's going to be the exact opposite. I mean, it's going to be hands-on. You're going to be working your plan, creating your plan, and networking with others to. I say this all the time to my wife Lori. I'm like, you don't really comprehend just the people that are in this room together. Like I don't, because everybody is so humble and down to earth and approachable. Humble. I mean, you got guys and ladies who are running multi-million-dollar companies. You have surgeons that are huge practices that, and they're more than willing to go, hey, have you thought about this? I mean, and I'm not going to, I do this thing again where I don't name names, and I won't name this person's name, but in the room, and this individual, raised hundreds of millions of dollars for a medical device product. There's numbers of those people that are there. And I overhear in the corner that he's telling this person how to do it.
Yep.
All right. So that right there, you would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars for a consultant to walk you through that process. And this individual,
you'll have to come to a Content Crib, and then we'll tell you. You'll meet who it is.
Yeah. Then you'll see who it is. Who it is. But that person is like giving a master class on how to do it, like step by step by step. And it's like, I was blown away, and but that's the kind of people that are in the room, and they're all willing to help. So it's
I'm jacked up. I'm excited. I wish it was next month. Actually, by the time this podcast comes out, it's going to be even closer. But.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, you'll probably be about a month and a half until it happens. So, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. October 10th and 11th in Bentonville, Arkansas. It's very easy to get Bentonville. Believe it or not, any big hub. If you live near a big hub, there's a flight to Bentonville, Arkansas, or as we like to call it, Walmartville, Arkansas. So
beautiful place. I love it.
Yeah, and it's a great time of year. October, it'll be fall will be in the air. It probably will be a little bit warmer than our February one we did, but which will be good.
All right. Well, we both have a Bachelor Friday evening to attend to, which will probably mean writing some LinkedIn posts, putting together our virtual sales RX relaunch, and some other cool things we have in the works, and then dialing in our Content Crib 5.0 plan and all the work we have to do. So yeah, you and I are probably not done talking, but we're done talking on the episode 6. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, and have a great weekend, everybody.